Here with Coach Frye talking about the South Carolina Invitational, getting ready for another 2-day meet this weekend. We're talking a little bit before, though. Rankings come out this week. The men jump up 16 spots up into the top 20, and the women obviously still in the top 20. How exciting is it to see both of those teams up there, Coach Frye?
Oh, it's great, man. We anticipated that. We on a national level, our kids. But you look in the SEC, every team in the SEC is in the top 20, and we're glad to take our spot in the top 20. And but boy, the conference is so tough. But being top 20 in the nation is awesome. Our kids are excited about it. I'm more concerned about, hey, let's forget about the top 20 and kind of keep our eyes focused on getting to the nationals. And our home meets are giving us a great opportunity for our kids to have a good environment so that they can make those qualifying times.
Yeah, no, talking about the home meet, we have a couple good teams coming in. Kansas State, Clemson, North Carolina, A&T. For this meet this weekend, how exciting is it to see some of these teams coming in here this weekend and to know that they're going to come here, and the teams that come here know that they can put up some good times?
This season has been it's our second season. We've had some new things added to our track. The Lexington Gamecock Club help us pave the rest of our floor. Things that we can see our alumni are interested in our track program and the Carols, and they're excited about helping make track have this atmosphere and a facility that draws people. The reputation gets out that we're a great host, hospitality. Our visiting teams can pay for meals at the Doty. So we're opening up new things so that other schools will make their environment one where it's wholesome for collegiate athletes. And then we're bringing 1,200 athletes this time. Last week it was 1,400 athletes. The first meet was 13. So we're in between. This meets a little bit down, which we're excited. We got 40 teams coming in to compete. And that's exciting to have that environment and to be a great host. We have great team management. Our university puts on the management staff. We've learned the flow of how to make sure meets run smooth. Our officials are tireless and setting up. So we're getting to be pros at making sure our kids have a great people in here to compete against. Now, having a great management way of flowing that many athletes, it takes time to learn to do that, and then to have spectacular crowds. And I mean, we're now getting up to where we're having 500 spectators at the track meet, and they're getting early, and then they're leaving, and then on comes our distance races later, and they filling it up for the 5Ks and on Saturday I couldn't believe the change and how many people were coming in to watch the 5K late. They didn't stay all day. They came to watch just the a la carte and the throws when we had the East Carolina crowd show up and cheer for that their kid to break a record. And I saw purple and gold in that place, and so my old home school. And Emily Riddle, some smaller schools come in and run 4:03 in a mile, and Furman comes and gets one of the top 10 times in the 1,500 for the girls. And then our mile relay, our guys were in the third, fourth fastest time in the country, and so the atmosphere is generating great times. This week it's going to be phenomenal. A&T State University, which is a great sprint school, they're putting their key sprinters up on the track, and we get to line up against them along with 200 pro athletes that are running. So it's going to be excitement.
Talking about those pro athletes, last week we had a top 10 mark in the world in the high jump, and then obviously we have some more pros coming in this week. How exciting is it, and how unique is it to see so many pro athletes flock to Columbia to come and compete here?
I mean, it's good for the college kid. It keeps their aspiration. It keeps them excited about their sport, and to be woman fuzzy with an Olympian and an American constantly. She high jumped in the last Olympics, and now to see her at the top of her game and to have her best mark go off on our track, that sends other words to people that this is a good play. Last year, Alabama came and their high jumper jumped really high, and he made the world championship team. So kind of the word filters that there's an atmosphere at Carolina that generates that emotional edge. You know, you can go compete and jump all around the country. There are all kinds of places you can go and be an athlete and just get your degree. But the energy is what gives Fast Times. We're excited about the energy. We got our student athletes on one side of the track yelling for their teammate, but then you've got parents of the student athlete and it stands on the opposite side. So we got a venue that brings on that atmosphere. That it's nothing like atmosphere. It's just like going to the basketball game this Monday. I went down to get my tickets, and then the tickets are almost gone. There's general admissions tickets. That atmosphere come Monday night against UConn is going to be awesome, and that's why people play big, run fast. Last week, the Kobe effect. Our kids wearing their shirt had people interested in why do they want to have the Kobe effect. They ask for shirts that with the mama on it so that they can generate a thought in their head that I gotta commit myself to something. And this week, I see a difference in them just thinking about, hey, I work hard every rep and stuff. I hope we can keep that going. But I think our fans help our kids. But if you don't put the work in, you have a lot of fans. They'll get you through the hype for a few minutes, but about to that second lap, you forget about the hype. But we need that second lap. We need people on the fan side to bring them home on that stretch, and we're appreciative of the fans we're having. We hope they come out and continue to support our kids.
You know, and then kind of moving back towards the athletes with the adjustments you guys are going to have this week. Obviously, specifically in that 4x4 men's race, you know, you guys go out and put up a top time, a top 5 time in the country. You know, what adjustments will you have? Maybe adjusting if you're going to run more individualized races in the 400, or are you still focused on improving?
On the girls' side, we're going to emphasize just making a few changes such that we can introduce Leah Abrams to her first run. Leah's been injured, and it looks like she's about, I'd say, 90% there. So we give her a chance to get ready for the big meet next week. At Clemson, there's a Power 5 meet with 8 teams, and we're in there. But Leah gets her shot at getting her NCAA qualifier before the conference. So this is a lead in, and then we brought in a transfer at mid-year to kind of help us on knowledge. Is it's her name, and so we get a chance to introduce knowledge after 2 weeks of practicing with us to see if she can do. And we've noticed that she has some great potential, but she's never been in the atmosphere that we're talking about. So we don't know what the shock factor is going to be. Is she going to go and run too hard too early, or is she going to wait too late and be afraid that I'm going to die? So there is nothing like the shock effect of a competition. You have ability, but until you see an athlete respond. So we got to do that here at home, because next week you got to go against Southern Cal and Kentucky and Texas A&M and Florida in that meet. So we're kind of doing some game preparation for our preseason big ones, where we're starting to get into our conference level and national flow, and that'll start next week. But this week is a rehearsal, and so on the girls' side. On the guys' side, we have a trend of trying to get 5 reps of competitions in before we get into our championship phase, and we got some guys that's been injured, so we got to run through this meet. We're not actually trying to put up another great time. If it happens, it happens. Our big thing is that Chance and Quincy are behind, so they need to run twice. So we're going to run an open quarter, which is going to be phenomenal because, shoot, we got a 44-2 kid in from A&T and Quincy, and we've got 2 guys that were on the Olympic World Championship team last summer, and so those 4 heats are going to be just loaded with kids that can run 45 seconds in the quarter indoors. So that's going to be phenomenal. Then we're going to come back. The mile relay, our entries there are 309s. But last week entries were 309s and went 306s and 307. So we don't know. We kind of I'm kind of a little nervous there because we think we're hot stuff, and I may back off and substitute and get bitten by. I saw there's no A&T is not running their number one team, and so that makes our kids kind of back off and feel like that. Oh, we'll cruise through this at home, and then here comes UNC Charlotte and a couple of those schools that. Hey, they're not that far. It don't take but one slip up, and those teams can beat. We got beat by St. Augustine. We thought our kids' goal was to go undefeated all year, and we got beat in the first meet by a big lean at the line, and so you can take anybody in track. I don't care as long as they put on their uniform. You know, some people took Emory Riddle for granted last week in the mile, and guys set the record indoors here. People don't realize how good Furman's girls distance runners are, or Campbell's guys are, and they come in and they just run out and they beat people with names on their chest and stuff. So your name and your home field advantage sometimes can be a disadvantage if you get the big head and don't think that the other guy, you got a chip on your shoulder and you got a target on your back, and people like to take that down, and that's something our kids got to be careful of. And it's good to be at home with that crowd. I love my crowd right now.
Awesome, Coach. You have any last thoughts before we get going this weekend?
Hey, Eric Favors is back and close to 100%. He has some tremendous lifts this week in the shot put. We hadn't tapered him, but he's got to get. He's got to get another 2 feet. I mean, he broke the Irish record last week, in which we were really pleased with. But he's 25th in the country. It's amazing, So we, 62.4. He's to get into that top 16 in the country. He's got to jump all the way to 64 feet. So he's gonna need some clapping, and he's gonna need our kids to not go home in between their meets and gain around him, and some of our fans to go over when it's his rep to go on Saturday to get him going. Our triple jump, we're opened up Hanifa, is opened up last week, a foot and a bit behind the board. We need her to be on the board. I mean, she jumped 42 feet 5 last week. She needs to jump 43 mid. So we got some things we can get done this week, and they're not around and around the track. They're off the track, and sometimes people forget you got to have field events. Go to Haley's. She's got her new poles in. Last week she blew through her poles and went 13.7, but she took a big pole that's really a guy pole and almost made the big bar. So we feel like that we invested in getting a pole that's more linear length pole with her weight on it, that's not as stiff, such that she can get a big pole, a big one to go. So I just think people need to know something that's going on other than the round and around, other than Aaliyah and Quincy. Straightaway Daryl came back, and we got Stefan in the hurdles. We're looking for him to drop in the 7.7s ranges. He's running 7.86, separated his shoulder, now he's back, and it seems like he's moving along quite fast. So I'll be observant of those things that are going on that don't go around and around. And come out and watch the girls play basketball on Monday night. And Gamecocks on softball on Saturday. This place is going to be wow. The weather's going to be tough. We lost some fans on Friday last week because it's raining, but they showed up on Saturday. If you can, get out late afternoon. We don't get started till 4. I mean, really, the rocking and rolling starts at 4 to 8 o'clock. So the 400s are about 6 o'clock. They come straight from the job 400 and come see your first, maybe something special in the 400 meters.
Awesome, Coach. Well, good luck this weekend.
Hey, appreciate it. Glad to have you Gamecocks supporting the Gamecocks.
Awesome.